what up, world? Man, I love the NBA, man. I got, that's my family. But now ain't the time to be playing basketball, y'all. Now ain't the time. Playing basketball is gonna do one thing: take all the attention off the task at hand right now and what we fighting for. Everybody gonna be worrying about the playoffs. They're gonna have all that blasted all over the TV, and nobody's gonna be talking about getting justice for all these senseless murders by the police, and nobody gonna be focusing on the task at hand, bro.
Unless you've been living under a rock, you've seen the current division of the NBA. The easiest man to target in the league has really been kind of under some flame recently. Kyrie Irving reportedly proposed that players sit out for Black Lives Matter. Basically, his point is, hell, the league is dominated by blacks anyway, so what would be a bigger stance than us refusing to play during a time where people are dying for some type of entertainment? And while I understand and really admire his passion for such a bigger cause, unfortunately, the world, business, and specifically billions of dollars just doesn't work that way. Never forget, the NBA is a business first. I don't care how much they try to portray it as a family, all that. It's a business first, ran by something called a CBA. This is something that the National Basketball Players Association and all 30 owners signed for, so it's to be abided by. If the NBA players broke this very favorable CBA agreement, which is really allowing everybody to flourish financially, trust me, it would not be a 2021 NBA season, and that's a fact. This would give owners all the leverage, and just keeping it plain, the NBA would be f***ed for years. Now, you're probably wondering how all this may relate to the title of this video. If you're not too young, you probably remember almost 10 years ago, we had a very sticky situation in the NBA, and we didn't know when it was going to end.
Look, dating back to last season, I was one of the guys saying I think they'll play a 50 or 60 game season. I thought the lockout would extend into the season and we'd have a shortened year. Now I'm at the point where I don't think we'll see NBA basketball. At all. I don't think we'll see it at all.
The NBA is completely ran by stars. More than any other league, the players have all the power. They're the most irreplaceable because not only is it hard to simply replace their talent, often it's nearly impossible to replace their brand, who they are to the league, what's their story, what legacy are they chasing, who they're compared to. All this stuff matters in the NBA. In 2005, the NBA owners agreed to one of the most lopsided CBA agreements, maybe in sports history. Players received 57% of something called BRI, that's basketball related income. This is basically tickets, broadcast rights, sponsorships, sales rights. I mean, everything related to basketball. And you may be thinking, they're the players, so shouldn't they have the right to most of the money and all that? Well, in a perfect world, yeah, but when it's coming as a major loss for almost every NBA owner, this is when it has to come to a halt. Around this time, the league as a whole was doing bad, and I mean real bad. Yes, we had great NBA finals, the Lakers and the Celtics meeting repeatedly, the Heat getting LeBron, all the big markets thriving and all that. But what did that mean for the rest of the NBA, specifically the smaller market teams? They weren't making no money. In 2010, 22 out of the 30 NBA teams lost up to $300 million in the previous 3 years. These 22 teams were the Minnesotas, the Portlands, the Charlottes, basically all the small markets that don't land big stars. For all these small ass, struggling ass teams, you can't pay your players most of your money when you barely make a damn thing. Like the Lakers at the time, they could pay Kobe, Dwight, Pau Gasol, all these top tier players, big top tier money because they made the money back. They drew in a lot of revenue. Also, at the time, the luxury tax was so lenient, it allowed teams that made more luxury tax dollars like the Lakers, the Knicks, and the Heat, they were able to go deeper into that luxury money because they had it. A team like Minnesota, they couldn't spend no luxury tax dollars because they ain't had no luxury money. And another thing, you have to understand where exactly the league was shifting at the time. KG, one of the league's biggest stars, had just left one of the smallest markets for one of the biggest markets. What did that do? Minnesota lost all of its appeal, all of its attraction, and they didn't make the playoffs for 13 seasons. LeBron, as we all know, he left an extremely small market to make a big market way bigger. Bosh left Toronto, who struggles to get star players, for Miami. Amari Stoudemire left Phoenix, a relatively small market, for New York. Carmelo Anthony left a relatively small market, Denver, for New York. Chris Paul, he just left New Orleans for LA. Hence why David Stern may have vetoed that initial Lakers trade, because he knew, man, this is getting crazy. Darren Williams, one of the league's best point guards at the time, he had just left Utah for New Jersey/Brooklyn. So all the big stars were all teaming up in the big markets, and the system kind of had it where the big markets could easily afford them. It just wasn't fair. This is why those 22 other owners called for change ASAP. These owners wanted a harsher cap, something more like the NFL, and the players wanted a free-going, guaranteed contract cap, somewhat like the MLB. And to be honest, it wasn't pretty, and it didn't seem like it was going to get resolved because both sides, they seemed like they were so far apart. The owners, they proposed a 17% player money cut, meaning they wanted to bring that BRI closer to 40% so they can make some money. And the players, they only seemed willing to go down 3% because they wanted their money. So both sides were so far apart. And back to my point about these players being so irreplaceable, this isn't like a restaurant or some type of business corporation where if I want to pay you $12 an hour and you want 15, I promise you I can fire you and find someone more than happy to work that 12. It's not just LeBron's and Kobe's laying on the street, so it just wasn't like that. Players had crazy leverage, so they stood strong, and in the meantime, they were tweeting their frustrations and all that. And the only good part about this lockout is, well, it did give us one of the littest off seasons of all time.
Ready to go, ready to go, ready to go. Whoa, hey, hey, hey. I walk in and let's get it. Hey, rockstar, we living for real. These niggas ain't tripping for real. Young Ray, just give a fuck how you feel. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm impatient, I ain't got time to chill. Life a movie, keep that shit on the real. You know it's the deal, yeah. My niggas outside, they ready to go. Don't waste my time, I'm ready to go. This bad little vibe, she ready to go. And I'ma get high, well, she gon' get low. On a late night, going strong, yeah. They gon' listen when I talk, yeah. I'm sauced up and I'm on, yeah. I space out and I'm gone, yeah.
LeBron was allegedly training to be an NFL player, which, bro, come on, man. And some players, even some star players, bro, they wanted to ball and they were flirting with other leagues, some even signing with other leagues. So it was getting kind of weird. At the end of that very ugly, very long November, they finally came to an agreement which kind of favored both the players and the owners. I think with the Christmas time games and all that stuff coming around, the players kind of caved and they took around 49 to 51% BRI. And for the owners, specifically the smaller market owners, they got it pretty solid because they got more of the revenue and they got a harsher luxury tax. So in layman's terms, what was supposed to happen was smaller markets having a better chance to thrive because big markets don't have all that money to go crazy on stars. Well, it kind of didn't work, but whatever. The deal also helped the younger NBA stars because it implemented what is now known as the Derrick Rose rule. A player who plays great early, like D Rose did, winning MVP at only 21, they can sign an extension and earn 30% of the team's cap as opposed to the previous 25. So that was a good thing. The season started on Christmas, which I think it should every year, and the reigning MVP started his season in perfect MVP fashion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you guys leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And until next time, as always, stay tuned.